let's jump into it, right? We got a lot of stuff to cover. I'm so excited to do it. And again, I mentioned this before. We did this back in 2018. We called it the original social media ripple effect. You can see the old Facebook logo there. And we told a story about a young couple that had visited for their honeymoon or baby moon. And they went ahead and commented and liked and posted at the hotel that they were staying at. One of their friends saw that post. They liked it, asked a question to the hotel, and it kind of spurred this ripple effect till we got to this place where a friend of a friend actually ended up booking a wedding block there. So it was a great story, but we were only telling only part of the story. And we look at today, there's so many social media platforms out there that hoteliers can use and leverage in order to generate demand and create occupancy for the hotel. Some apps, much newer, like Be Real. We're going to talk about that. If anyone's heard of that, I'd love to hear about it in the chat. We're going to certainly talk about it and where that fits in the traveler's journey. TikTok, right? Instagram. We're going to have a big section on Instagram. LinkedIn, the perfect B2B resource that hoteliers have been waiting for to do some networking to help with group rates. So we've got a lot of different platforms. And we've got a lot of different stages of the traveler's journey. And each of these four we're going to cover today can be impacted in different ways through social media, from pre-booking search to post-booking pre-stay. This is an interesting one. This was really not that important back in 2018. We're going to really focus in on that today because the pandemic really changed that and the flexibility that travelers now have in comparison to a couple years ago. On-site guest experience, that's where it all happens, right? Where we provide the hospitality and the rooms and service, and then post-stay and advocacy. We're even going to talk about some social media influencers today. I'm super excited about it. So let's keep moving on. Pre-booking search, right? Inspiration. That's what we've been hearing for years. This is the perfect place to do to inspire travelers is before their booking and on social media. Now, we saw this generating in the last webinar we did in 2018, generating people actually using social media as their primary search. So rather than going to a place like Google or Bing, they were actually going to places like Facebook and Instagram to do their searches. You can see that has completely exploded, especially the a younger audience. So imagine, right? Us as hoteliers, I know we're constantly thinking, where do I rank on Google when someone types in hotels in Orlando, hotels in Las Vegas or New York? When was the last time you did that search on Facebook? Or when was the last time you did that search on Instagram? Because your younger generation, that's where they're doing those searches, not necessarily Google. And the funny part about that is you look at the most top visited sites in 2022, and this trend continues. 4 of the top 10, 5 if you count YouTube, are social media sites. So of course we want to be there, and we want our properties to be there. And in fact, an exercise that I challenge you to do after you get off this webinar today, one of the oldest SEO digital marketing jokes used to be about where the best place to hide a dead body is, page 2 on Google, because nobody goes to page 2 on Google. Well, when you're done with this webinar, go search hotels in your area and try to find a second page. And what you'll see is the update in 2023 is they've actually removed pages, and it has an endless scroll feed, almost like your social media. So Google's actually recognizing that they're losing their base to some of these social media sites. We never find the end of that scroll feed on our social media, right? Google is attempting to do the same and make it a more mobile experience. So social is the new search. So if you're not there, and it's not just Facebook, we talk to a lot of hoteliers that say, yeah, I'm not really seeing a lot of ROI on my social media. I ask them what platforms they're on. They say, well, we have a Facebook page. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, these are all very, very critical. TikTok even is really important as well. So let's continue down this, right? So how discoverable is your hotel on social media? There's 4 ways that travelers can run into your content or find your content. The first is probably the most obvious, right? They follow your page. They find your content engaging enough and valuable enough to be on their feed. And they have to keep their interest, which is sometimes the hard part for hotels, on coming up and generating new content. 2, their followers are following engage with your page. So this is a great example of what we talked about, that old social media ripple effect. Your friends or family like, react, share, repost, comments, and that somehow ends up in your feed because they think, hey, if your friend likes it, then you would like it too. So this is another way that people can find your hotel's content. Targeted social ad spend. A lot of hoteliers that we talk to know exactly who they're trying to pursue. What type of audience, what type of occupancy they're trying to reach, what is their sweet spot of occupancy. If you have a good idea for this, targeted ad spend is a really interesting place that you might want to start looking at social media. For every single one of our Travel Media Group social partners, we include targeted ad spend. We work with you to make sure that it's reaching the audience that you want it to reach in order to generate demand and occupancy. And finally, the one I want to focus on today is they discover your hotel based off interest. Instagram Reels specifically on your Explore page. So this one's interesting because this is content that's created that they don't have to follow your page. Their friends or family may not like the page. You might not have them in targeting ad spend, but they somehow discover your page. And this is how we want guests to find our page. We never want to feel like we're being sold. We want to uncover and discover a page. So Instagram Reels is an absolute necessity when it comes to social strategy in 2023 and beyond. And here are some stats to pad that. 1.5 billion daily active users, a huge audience, and Reels grew by 220 million in just 3 months in 2022, from July to October. 62% of Instagram users say they use it to research brands and products. Back to that point of social is the new search. So back in 2018, when we were talking all about Facebook and that ripple effect, I would argue if we do this in another 5 years, this is the place where hoteliers are going to see the most return. But funny enough, when we go to conferences, we go to trade shows and talk to hoteliers, this is the place that we don't see them being active on the most. So Instagram, absolutely key. And that's actually why we prioritize Reels here at Travel Media Group. So now our social hotel partners will have the ability to create video content and post it to their hotel's Instagram Reels. An absolutely astonishing development by our team. And really, like I said, critical piece to any hotel social media strategy right now. So we've inspired them. They've discovered you. Now we get into the second phase. I talked to you earlier about this. Back in 2018, this really wasn't that important. Once you booked, you really weren't changing your plans. It's very, very few times that you change your plans here. Now, today, think about everything that travelers have been through over the past couple of years. Flexibility is now an asset that every traveler has to have. Think about the airlines and all the cancellations we had this summer. Think about the brand's ability to, switch your booking at the last minute. People have been adapting to this over the last couple of years because of the pandemic. So really, we're dubbing this stage as securing your booking. So you've got the booking, now you've got to secure it and make sure that your traveler is hyped, ready to go, but you're also setting proper expectations. And the perfect way, I mentioned this before, the perfect way to do this and kind of compare this is the parallel of a new app called Be Real. It's not very new. It was launched back in 2019, but its popularity really exploded in 2022, especially with younger generation. And as of October 2022, it's actually the top social networking app on the App Store, and it's been installed roughly about almost 30 million times. So it's still got a ways to go with some of these other social platforms. But the foundation of this platform is authenticity and just like the word be real. So it actually gives you a set amount of time each day. It could come at any point of the day to take a picture of yourself and what you're doing. And so no Instagram filters, no posting on a Tuesday morning of your vacation in Hawaii that was a couple months ago trying to make everyone jealous. No, this is about being real and authentic. And that's really what we should shoot for in our social strategy in 2023. We've got some of our guests that are paying prices not only at our hotels, but outside in our grocery stores and gas. They're paying more than they ever have. They want to know what their money's getting them. And one of the ways that we can do that and set proper expectations, we talk about it all the time on our podcast, is by social media. So I love highlighting and showcasing all of the great work that our social team does here at Travel Media Group. These are all examples of them. Some great ways to kind of be authentic in your social post and really express your social voice. I ask hoteliers this all the time. I had the pleasure of working at a couple properties here in Orlando, and I knew that one spot, whether it was out at our pool, up on a higher level of those views, the best views on your property. Some of these really get the traveler in the mindset of what they can expect at your hotel. Now, you might not have the beach right there like this property, but there's always that maybe sunset by the pool, the fire pit. If you've got a really nice lobby, these pictures really go a long way in setting expectations for the traveler. The second one in guest experience here, I love this post because of the simplicity of it. Now, this is something for hoteliers you probably see every day, right? Your front desk. But for a guest, this is the place that they're going to be checking in, right? This is the place that they're going to be coming in for any sort of request. They want to know what to expect. If you've done a great job of laying out your hotel in social media form for them, and they know exactly where to go right when they walk in and are familiar with your property, you've done a great job in this post-booking pre-stay phase. And finally, dining and amenities. So this is the place where we really brag and say all the unique things that our property does. And again, put that traveler in the shoes of already being there, know what to expect, and have that laid out for them so we don't get any of those unwelcome surprises that we've just become accustomed to, unfortunately, because of the pandemic of the past couple of years. And this is one of the things that we take incredibly seriously with our social partners. So when we onboard a new social partner, we actually take all of their media content, videos, amenities, all that good stuff. We throw it in a gallery, and then we plan out for them a social content calendar. So whether you have TMG OneView as a calendar or a social calendar tool, I encourage any hotelier listening to this that is serious about their social strategy, we have to get a social calendar that looks something like this. 4 to 5 posts each week, whether it's on an online calendar or even a physical calendar. Some of the events, the holidays are coming up. Know when your occupancy windows are, know when your occupancy drivers are, write them down and have them in an organized space. Again, this is something we do for our hotel partners. If you come a little late, again, if you and you want just a preview of what that might look like, there's that live social media demo that's going on in there. There are only 20 spots available in there, so if it does fill up, go ahead and schedule that one-on-one consultation. They'll be able to give you a little bit more information to show you how you can use this content calendar. But we got a lot to go through, so let's keep rolling here. So we've inspired, we've secured our booking, now we've got them on property, right? This on-site guest experience. This used to be a place for hoteliers, I wouldn't say take for granted, but we had the ability to have guest touch points built in to the guest experience at the property. If somebody needed a key to get into the room, what did they have to do? They had to come to the front desk to ask for that. If they needed something, more towels, if they requested service, they'd pick up that phone that every single hotel is required to have in their room. And then what's the age-old general manager or front desk manager trick to know about how guests really feel? You go around your breakfast area and you start talking to guests during breakfast and ask them that. So now fast forward to 2023, and there's some broken connections here, right? Somebody can walk in, they don't have to come to the front desk anymore. That you can have an electronic key and not even have a guest touch point during their stay. That's scary for some hoteliers to know whether they're performing or executing at where they want to be. The people are more comfortable behind their cell phones rather than picking up that phone now, or sending you a DM or text message with a request rather than they are picking up that hotel phone in your room. And then they could have their breakfast delivered right past you at the front desk, straight up to the room, and they don't have to come down to the lobby. So there's all these kind of broken connections here in 2023, and social media makes for a great place to bridge the gap with these connections. So again, love highlighting these examples because of the astounding work our social team does. I love this example here to the left, a Courtyard Marriott doing a paint and sip experience at the property. They've got a QR code there with some more. We got Valentine's Day coming up, so with some more information. But what has this post just done? It's created a connection between the hotel and the guest. And now if they see that, they like that, follow that page, we're also getting in the feeds of their friends and family as well. They're seeing that post if they see that they're attending. Another great example here is the 5-star review on TripAdvisor. Again, connecting with that guest who left us feedback. And then finally, if you haven't already, make sure that your social sites are open for any sort of questions. And this is going to be very important as we talk about this next, social listening, right? A great social exercise I like to do is check about some of the questions that are being asked or some of the comments on your social posts. This is a great example here. Is your breakfast 7:30 to 9 a.m. And the Diamond Center Hotel did a fantastic job of responding 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can see that multiple people have liked that. So they clearly had that question. Get some of those most frequently asked questions, whether it's on social media, whether it's at the front desk, and then do a little exercise of start turning those questions into answers. And you can use that for some content on your social media, because if one person is asking it, there's probably multiple people that have that same question about your hotel experience. So just a little best practice there for some social content ideas. So they've stayed, they had an amazing time. It's time for influencers and advocacy, right? And when we start talking about influencers, I think a lot of hoteliers' minds go to, celebrity influencers and or TikTok stars and things of that nature. And I'm not here to talk about Kylie Jenner. I'm actually here to talk about the Carol McKinnons and Brian G's of the world. Now, you might not think of these two guests as influencers per se, but you can see how influential they actually are. Carol has actually written reviews that has been seen over 118,000 times. So, this was something that webinar that we did at the end of 2022, talking about the top 5 review response trends for 2023. And this was one of them, treating each guest as if they're an influencer, because you're not sure how influential they are in social aspects or even review in their reviews. Brian G has written 51 reviews on TripAdvisor, and he's had 48 people actually mark his reviews as helpful. So you can guarantee if these people are writing reviews about your property, they're meaning more than maybe some of the other guests on property. So don't think, when we say influencers, don't think huge. Think about these types of travelers that have a lot of influence, leave a lot of reviews, and might have a lot of followers on social media, which leads us to another great Instagram exercise. This is one of my favorite things to do with hotels. So we're located here in Maitland, just north of Orlando. You can do this for your property. Go to Instagram after this webinar and type in your address. And once you do that and you type in your address, you're going to see the top posts from that location. Typically, hotels who we work with exclusively have a lot of posts because everyone likes to post on Instagram on vacation. And you'll see the top post and you'll start to recognize which travelers maybe have a big following that have stayed at your hotel and you might not have known it. This Hilton here, which again was a beach hotel near Orlando, this had a person here that has over 3,300 likes and 37 comments on their post tagging the property. Imagine if the property were able to go in there, thank him for his visit, say, hey, we saw that you enjoyed our poolside and some drinks. We invite you back. that is a huge marketing opportunity and way to influence prospective travelers, especially his following. And it's even better if he comments back there. People are typically really, really open to responding to brands and companies, especially if they've had a great experience, which hopefully you're providing. So social listening is key. Any hoteliers, this is a great example as well. Any hoteliers that really get a lot of their business from weddings, I guarantee you there are a lot of wedding photographers, wedding planners, wedding vendors that are tagging your property. They want more business, and your hotel wants more wedding business. If there is not a quick way that if I called you and to tell you who is tagging you, you need something like this in place, because they are going to try to influence and push your property out there more, and vice versa. So this is a great example of our feed that we provide for hoteliers, that every time their property is mentioned, tagged, there's a comment or anything like that, they can go in, like, react, share, post, comment, all the good stuff there that helps expand that reach, generate more insights and impressions on your social, to your social audience. So again, if you're looking for something like this, please, we've got a couple places where you can go in there. But really what this amounts to is this social media ripple effect, where we talked about one post at the very beginning, which still can be true about that Facebook post. Now we're seeing this more and more across different platforms and different stages of the traveler's journey. And we understand that here at Travel Media Group. In fact, you see, we've been able to acquire over 650,000 Facebook followers for our hotel partners since we started doing social media. 28,000 on Twitter, 118,000 more on Instagram, and almost 1 million ad impressions on these social sites. So if you think about that as each opportunity to come in and create that revenue ripple effect, it really is a powerful thing.